Tell us how you found the session. Did you enjoy the conversation? What was your highlights?
Yeah, I really loved the conversation. I enjoyed being able to talk to everyone in the audience and hear their questions. It was a pleasure, of course, to talk to Frankie because, his work is incredible and really important to all of us. So yeah, I think just the mere conversation was a pleasure, but especially the questions from the audience because that's one of my favorite parts, just being able to have a wider conversation.
We'll have a lot more questions from the audience today about your work. And so I'd like to get right into it. If you do not know Elehosa Osunde, they are the author of two books, the first one being Vagabonds, and then the second one being Necessary Fiction, which is the latest release. And so we are going to be focusing on Necessary Fiction. I would like to zoom into my first question being, how did this collection come to you? When did it come to you and how did it come to you?
So Necessary Fiction started.
Hello.
Does this work? Okay, it does. Necessary Fiction started for me with a short story called Good Boy, which was published in the Paris Review. It started as a singular short story and met great response with readers. And then in 2023, I was on a very long drive and heard the character's voice again. So I started writing down what I could hear, and then that turned into another story that's related to it called That Year, which is in this book and which I would love to read an excerpt of at some point. And then between those two stories, um, I was able to learn more about the characters that were important to the protagonist, and the book just sort of webbed out from there.
Amazing. And how long did it take you to put this collection together?
I'd say 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'd say 3 years in total. Because if we're counting when it started in 2020 with the short story, then that's actually what I'll count as the beginning of the book. And then from that point to when I finished the novel, it was about 3 years.
When did you feel that the collection was ready to at least go into editing? Because putting a collection together I find it much more difficult than putting a novel together. You are piecing stories together and you want them to have, even if they are not connected, you want them to have some sort of relating theme or just something that brings them together holistically. So when did you feel you had enough stories to put together and send off to editing?
That's a really good question. I feel like for me, the story is done when I have nothing else to discover. Um, so with Necessary Fiction, I would refer to it as a novel in stories, actually. So it's kind of in between being a novel and a short story collection. Um,
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
so it's between being a novel and a story collection. I knew it was done when all the links were clear to me. So, for instance, if there was a main character who was mentioned, once their story also became fleshed out and led to other relationships, I knew that there was a groove. And when all of those relationships stopped unfurling, I knew that we had a complete picture of this chosen family who exists together in Lagos. Yeah.
And the title, how did it come to you and why did you choose to title it Necessary Fiction?
Well, Necessary Fiction is an arrogant title, and that's why I love it very much. I feel like you see a book called Necessary Fiction on a shelf, you want to know what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
But then beyond that, I would say it's also about the stories we tell ourselves in order to survive, in order to keep going. And so that's what the title means to me. It's literally whatever story you find compulsory to carry with you in order to keep going, in order to keep being a part of your family, in order to keep experiencing love, is a necessary fiction. So I wanted to speak to that because this book explores themes of family, love, sex, sexuality, spirituality, and yeah, I believe that it's a book that everyone should read.
Yeah. We're going to get into a reading, but before we do, I really want to know, what is your favorite story in the collection?
Oh, that changes every time, but today I would say it's a story called Reconciliation.
Okay.
Yeah, Reconciliation is a story about two lovers who met in secondary school when they were teenagers and, you know, after some years apart, came back to know each other again. So that story is speaking to me today.
Today, okay,
Yeah.
nice. We would like to take the first reading, so please feel free to read from any section of the book of your choice. I think the second reading, we would like to hear from someone from the audience who has read the book, where you would love to hear her read from. So.
Nasiba.
Okay. We already have someone chosen, so please.
Yes. Okay.
And please grab a cup of drink or two. It's on the house as part of our reading.
All right, I'm reading an excerpt of a story in this book called That Year. That same year, for Valentine's Day, me and Maro did a double wahalacation. Two Alhajis flew us to Bahamas and just watched us swim and chill every evening. Mine would massage oud-infused oils into my feet and insist I stay in a robe. Let me tell you, I felt like the prettiest thing in the world, as Mans kept saying, "Eat, eat. The money won't finish. Order anything. The money won't finish." I finally understood there that bad bitch no get gender. Vibes on vibes, walai. Handsome as fuck too, that guy. He'd look at my face in the morning, stare at my eyelashes and just say, "Mashallah," like he was Ronzing God. He was lonelier than even he could fully understand, had just lost his wife, was being ripped to shreds by time and memory, etc., normal level. When we were drunk inside the pool, he told me, she said, over her dead body, and I understood. I didn't touch a man while she was alive. There was a pause, then he looked at me with so much take me in his eyes and said, but she is no longer alive. I know be Jesus, so you feel reason how it take happen next. We freed the pool and I assumed position. This man looked up at me with his pious head and wet eyelids, holding my hips like Jana. And real talk. When the tip of me touched the back of his throat, my body went shh for what felt like countless days and infinite nights. Where my energy came from after that, me, I don't know, but swear down, Alaji feel me for body. When I got behind him and he opened his mouth in yes, the hunger that poured out was so deep. I went blind in my sacrum. He talked more after I had spent him and finished myself. It's like he needed me to really, really understand what was behind his ribs. Fair enough. He paid for my ear along with everything else. Why wouldn't I give it? I wonder where he is now. In March, I tripped on acid for the first time in Elegushi in broad daylight. Don't even ask. That year, me and Maro did ecstasy with 4 strangers in Soul Beach when it was still Soul Beach. We were steady trying shit. See, I was popping Molly like paracetamol, surrounded by people who got so high up they thought they could hear God whispering instructions. Guys had been hallucinating on the regs, but no wham. By year end, everybody learned say, Molly no be Messiah, and loud, no be Jesus. That year, me, Maro, Akin, and our friend Leke, he hadn't jackpot that time, went to clubs and danced until the lights came on and those cleaning guys started sweeping. I remember that my mind used to cut because did this mean I would have to get sober? Did this mean I would have to go home? That year, all our self-controls were flimsy as matching handkerchiefs in stubborn wind. Can I even remember April? Later in the year, May and I traveled to Ghana for Chalewote for a private set she was playing at one of the after parties. She killed it, but what's new? We ate kelewele in high sun, went to clubs at night, taught Krokobrite for a few days. I fucked a bass guitarist on a high rooftop. I don't send anybody papadaye. Truly. Waiting be decorum and how that one take concern me. That was in like August, I believe. Yes, definitely August, because it was one of the last trips we all took before everything scattered. July was Awele's birthday, which was also the month she fully started Village Square, that blog that has helped so many. That year, Akim paused on photography and started a whole other magic. We all knew he was playing instruments and had a good voice. But me, I never knew he could sing. I didn't ask him about it when he started because if he wanted me to know, then sure he would have yearned me. Thank you.
Thank you. A round of applause, please. I mean, I have read the book, but listening to you is a whole different experience. Do you take time to practice how you read before engaging with your audience, or it just comes to you naturally? Because I really enjoyed how you brought the characters to life with your emotions and the way that you just took your time with the reading.
Do I practice?
Well, some readers practice how they, before they meet. So I'm just wondering if it's something that is intentional for you, or it just comes naturally.
It depends.
Okay.
Today I didn't practice because I've read this portion a number of times and it's one of my favorite parts of the book. So I almost know it by heart at this point. I also directed the audiobook, so
wow.
I supervised the reading of this chapter so closely that I know how it goes. So for today, at least for this reading, I didn't rehearse. Maybe the next one, you get a different answer from me. I don't know.
Maybe the next book would love to have you do the reading.
Well, I'm one of the narrators in the audiobook. There are 13 narrators on the Necessary Fiction audiobook. You should listen to it.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Yes.
Yeah. Your writing is very contemporary, and you are very intentional with your language and diction. The characters sound very Nigerian. They also sound very original to the geography in which they belong. So I would like to hear your thoughts on the importance of, finding identity in the voices of your characters.
I think one of the strengths of my work is that it sounds like what I know. It sounds like the people I love. It sounds like the people I have loved. It sounds like um, Nigeria. And that's something I know well enough to be able to do to the best of my ability. So, yeah, I think that's something I prioritize because the more particular a piece of work is, the more irreplicable it is, and the more impact it has on the people who do resonate, or who the work resonates with, you know. When I first started writing, I worried about the tone of my work. I thought it was not clean enough. And I think something that changed for me over time was realizing that in censoring my own tone mentally, I was also dimming my work. So that's why it's important to me, I think, to really go there. Like, if a character is a rascal, then they should sound like one. If a character speaks pidgin, they should sound like that. So that's why that's important to me. It's important to me because there's no one else who can sound like me. And my favorite books do that as well. My favorite books just go where they want and trust that will follow. Yeah.
And still on the point of the voice of your characters, your choice of language is also quite bold in areas and aspects where a lot of writers would like to fine-tune it to be more polished or just more, less ras, I guess, as a word. You choose to let your characters be who they are. So, like you said, if it's a Raz character, you're going to hear the Raz words. If it's, if it's someone who lives in a posh area, you're going to hear posh English. I'm very particular to hear about what it is like working with your editor in keeping, your characters true to their bold voices, because I do know that there might be some struggle in keeping your characters true to their identity and boldness when working to refine the work for publishing. So what has been your experience, and how do you stay grounded in keeping the characters the way you want them to be?
So, I've actually been quite privileged / lucky / blessed to have editors who were already in love with my work before we started working. I think something that I've done intentionally over time is actually listen to what the editor thinks of the work before allowing them to buy the book. Because we're often told that we're supposed to write and then wait for approval from editors. That's something that I would like to challenge new writers who are trying to get published to think about. The relationship between a writer and an editor is a mutual one. It's supposed to be a mutually beneficial one. So if you have the chance to speak to an editor, I think it also matters to listen to what they have to say about your work and whether they are reading it correctly. My two editors that I've worked with, Calvert Morgan on Vagabonds and Jake Morrissey on Necessary Fiction, are both white men. And I was concerned about that. I was like, are they going to try and erase the work? Are they going to try and flatten it? Are they going to try and polish it to a point where I no longer recognize it? But that hasn't been my experience. And so I would say how I protect my work is by making sure that before I send it to editors, I already know what I'm trying to say. So that way, when their notes come back, I know what's not true to the heart of my work and what is.
Right.
I have received some very helpful notes from editors before. For instance, my editor for Necessary Fiction was the one who suggested adding a cast of characters, which I think made the book so much better. But he didn't change anything about the actual identity of the work. So that's what I would say. I would say how I keep the heart of my work is by first understanding it before sending it out for notes, and then listening after that.
Okay. I'd like us to get the second reading. So Nasiba, have you selected your section? Okay. Maybe if you let her know, she can do the reading.
Good boy? Okay. All right.
Which pages? Do you have particular pages in mind? Okay.
Hey, after they have read the way they have read, I will use this my voice to read.
Please go ahead.
When I lost home, my goal was simple. All those insults my father used to be casual about, I wanted to erase them. I wanted to outdo him so that when people called our family name, there would be more to say about me than about the man who picked me up as a boy and stretched me into a man in the space of an afternoon. I was on the street so fast, it felt like I dreamed those memories of the man reading a newspaper, the head of the house watching the news, the father petting the koboko like something safe. He beats the sound out of all of them so that those days when I used to play my mind back, wondering if things could have been different, I met more bites than a back. But he hardly talked anyway, except to say things like this. You won't amount to anything. So it's not like I was missing much. He was furious a lot, which makes sense. People are like that when they hate themselves. He was wrong about what he said, though. Embarrassingly wrong. What I have amounted to can buy who he was at least twice. My father was a well-educated man, a man who had a should be so for everything. The table should be set so. All family members should be at home by 7 p.m. Breakfast should always include eggs. A wife should be this way. A husband should be that. Dutiful. He never excused himself from his own hand. The one time he was able to pay our school fees and our mother offered, the house did a headstand and blood rushed into our brains. I swear. We sat at home that time. That's what should can do. About me, he believed I should be grateful he chose me to raise me. Having noticed my softness from early, he believed I owed him something and feared that if I didn't love the way he prescribed for me, I would ruin my life. Funny, because his love tied his hands. Often, love made an army out of us. That day, when he walked in on me and my classmates, I saw him fight himself to the ground. What followed was what he thought he had to do. He questioned every feeling, tested it for fitness. If he didn't think it would suit a man his size, he would treat it like a son, send it away with his head bowed. Rage was good, rage was a feeling, with a hard core and some biceps. So a beautiful rainfall of blows. What kind of weak father would have no problem with what he saw? What kind of weak man would see such a thing and let his son go free? Look at yourself, he kept saying, staring at me. Look at yourself. You've destroyed the family name. I dropped the family name after 4 years away. They can keep it. It stopped meaning anything to me. Any weight put on my name since then comes straight to me. It's for me, just me. He used to say, it's as you make your bed that you lie in it. I sleep in my bed. I sleep in a made bed every night. King size. It's someone else's job to make it. He always loved to say, any man who comes back home after 7 p.m. is a thief. Some days, I leave home to work at 7 p.m. because I can. Nami gets my life. And many things, but a thief is not one of them. The easiest way to put what I do in context is to quote Jay-Z. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
A round of applause for Nasiba, also known as the senior vagabond. Elhosa, do you have any question for your senior vagabond? We'll turn things around here.
I do. I actually do. Thank you so much for that. That was brilliant. Nasiba. So I know everything about how you felt about vagabonds because you tweeted about it. You did reels about it. You wrote me about it. You have pretty much evangelized about it all around Accra. And I'm really thankful to you. I want to say a public thank you. Your support means a lot to me. But I was curious, after reading Vagabonds, when you encountered necessary fiction, first of all, what did you experience? Like in 3 words, what did you experience? And then my second question is, who do you think needs to read necessary fiction? Like what group of people do you think needs to read necessary fiction?
Who did this speech for me? Okay, in 3 words, I think I just even have one word, like necessary fiction, madness. Like that was just, it felt like my brain, it was an out of body experience. It's just something went off in my head. Yes, and I had no expectations of necessary fiction. I even thought it would fall short of Vagabonds. I was worried, and I think I always said that I was quite worried because Vagabonds was it for me. But when I read necessary fiction, it reminded me of Akin, the character in the book, that takes time to marinate their work, and then finally it's like, it only gets better. Like that saying, only gets better. I just experienced it with necessary fiction. Who do I think should read this book? I think that one thing about your work is that anyone can read it and get something from it. I think that this book will speak to you if you're looking for community. It's like, it can serve as a rule book. There are many things in it that you would resonate with. It would help you understand your parents. Especially, it would help actually queer children understand their parents in the way that they behave, with 2 characters, and that's Alaji. You heard Alaji in that year, and It's Okay. Not even It's Okay. It's Okay, and yes, It's Okay. That was the Mrs. One. Yes, It's Okay. Those 2 characters looking into their lives, and sometimes, homophobia is just fear, and not just really. I think that unlike Vagabonds, that maybe it will resonate with certain groups. I think necessary fiction is just there. The characters are just there. Maybe if you're caged, you understand like what you can do with freedom and what you can do with your work. Friendship, it will make you look at friendship differently. Love. I think a challenge about Eloise's work is that you truly cannot explain anything about the work unless you read it. You actually just have to experience it yourself. I think everybody, for me, every single person needs to experience their work, and indifferently, their work in print and their work in audio. They are like different experiences, like vastly different experiences. So you need to experience their work for what it is. And it would speak to you. There's always a voice in the work, and that's one thing for sure. Anybody who reads that book goes away with a voice. Whatever the voice is saying to you, it's up to you. But you would always go away with a certain voice that will always speak to you. And at every single time, it will mean different things at different ways. So everybody, like every single person, buy the book, read the book. Necessary fiction is like, I don't know if any book can come after it, but Holy Grail. Vagabonds used to be it for me. Necessary fiction is it for me. And I think that that's what creativity is. Like, it'll always speak to you and always speak to, there's always a voice in it.
Thank you.
Don't go. Nasiba, do you have any question now for Elohosa? Already, wow. Are you?
Okay.
Oh, everybody hears me. Okay, so are you writing another book? And
Always.
always, exactly. And if you are, do we get an extension of? We saw some characters from Vagabonds in 2 characters in it, and I was very happy, especially me. And we get to see, so do we see an extension of some characters into the book, especially Akin's parents? There was just something spiritual about their marriage, you know. And Akin's mom must have been mad to marry somebody who was going to die. But yes. And then Awele and Yemisi, the 2 girls, what is happening with them? Do we? do we-
Necessary fiction is the end of that
Oh my.
for now.
Do we get a short story at least?
Possible.
Thank you. I'll come back to the audience. But before I do, we have 2 drinks. I'd like you to name them
Oh, okay.
from characters from the book.
Okay, I'll have to taste them
Sure.
first,
Sure.
if that's okay.
So what we did with the drinks is to try to color them. It's almost like a color code to necessary fiction and how we felt about reading the book. So we want to see if Elohosa can name these drinks for us, especially at Pija.
This is very cool.
It is. We have one of the best barmen here, so I'm not surprised.
This is Holy Room.
Okay.
Holy Room is a chapter in which a commitment ceremony happens between 2 men. And I'm going to read you an excerpt.
Great.
But this is Holy Room. It's like refreshing, it's gentle, it is, yeah, it's refreshing and gentle.
Okay.
This is Holy Room.
Okay. So we have Holy Room, and then. So now you can go get yourself a cup of Holy Room and drink the characters from it. Even better, eh?
Ah, I like that.
Yeah.
Do I taste pineapple in there? I think there's pineapple in here.
Maybe.
I would say this one is reconciliation.
Okay.
Reconciliation is a chapter, it's the chapter I was talking about earlier, where 2 lovers come back together after years apart. So that one feels like reconciliation.
Okay.
So this is Holy Room and this is reconciliation,
Reconciliation.
and both drinks are available at the.
Yeah, so you can
At the
get Holy
bar.
Room or reconciliation at the bar while we
Also,
are
feel
reading.
free to add a shot to it if you want, or 2, you know,
Yeah.
if you want to dial it up.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Do we have any questions for Elohosa? Any questions from the audience? Or do we want to hear a reading? Okay, so the audience have spoken and they want to hear another reading. I think
Okay.
I will take reconciliation.
Okay.
So while they get the chapter ready, I would like to let you know that there are copies of their book at Vidya Bookshop, so you can go grab one and get it signed when the reading is done. Vidya Bookshop has a number of copies available, so if you want to get it signed by the amazing Elohosa Osunde, please grab one when we are done, and they will be available to do a signing for you.
I'm trying to decide.
Maybe do the reading from Holy Room.
From Holy Room,
yes,
yeah?
because we've
Okay.
named the drink Holy Room.
Okay. All right, this is Holy Room. Mara and Jeku's commitment ceremony started at 4 p.m. Just 20 guests, all friends on both sides, all chosen family. Well, except Jeku's younger sister, Ifi. But she made sense. They chose her to. Just 2 days prior, they had both flown in from Abuja, where they'd spent the last month and a half. Plans had felt hectic until just this morning, when what really mattered came back into sharp focus again. What would I like from you? What do I want from you? Jeku asked in the presence of their witnesses. I want your attention, he said, bolted into me. I want my attention screwed into you until the day we die, until we no longer have bodies. I choose you, only you, and I choose truth where you're concerned. I will not lie to you because I know what lies did to us when we were younger. I know. I will not be them to you. I trust that you will not be them to me. I will not choose brutal. I will choose gentleness over backwardness and cruelty. I will take every single window I see to extend myself in your name. I will choose love over harm. I will make you coffee on the mornings you want. Jump into bouncing castles with you. Take care of all your soft and young places. Teach you to ride the bike like you've been wanting. I will sit beside you in the rough seasons, and I will not shame you for your wounds. I will amplify your joy every time it's present. I will continue to do what I can to learn your brain and to deepen my trust in the fact that you are learning mine. I will remember, even when we're fighting, all the ways you pulled me up from the floor of me and helped me get right back to standing. I will choose gentle with you and choose it in public as many times as I can, in front of everyone who loves us separately and or together. I choose care. I choose parts of my imagination I've never had room to exercise. I choose the love we have both dreamed of and committed to in the presence of God and our friends. I will allow and encourage my audacity for life to continue to expand and increase. I will call you my partner, even and especially in the presence of all those who would rather I call you my friend. I'd like to have the continued privilege to choose Ogenemaru every day. That's what I'd like. You are who and what I want. End of story. Thank you.
Oh, I think we can do better with that. Come on. After all the drinks, you can, exactly. Thank you. Thank you. More energy. That's how we like it here. Pija, there's fire in it. We should always, come with the energy. One thing I noticed about your writing is how devoted your characters are in whatever situation they find themselves, be it love, be it being a hater, be it soaring by the struggle, being devoted to, their identity and how they would like to experience the world. I would really love to hear, why devotion is such a big theme in your writing.
I think love is most worthwhile when it's clear and sure. I think the world is too harsh for us to be lukewarm about our choices. And those choices don't always have to be good. They just have to be ours. And that's something I'm passionate about in my life. It's something that I'm passionate about in my community. The people I choose entirely. And that's something I try to live by. So as a reader, it's also something I like to experience on the page when you can see people's choice in clear action over and over and over again. And I feel like that's what devotion is. Devotion is basically like sustained action that backs up a feeling. Something I'm most proud of in this book is that the people who choose to be in community with each other, protect each other, they imagine together what life can be, even when they were not given a map. And I think that's something that we can all learn from, and that's something that we can all learn to do with each other, just to come together and imagine what we deserve, and then to action that over and over again.
Hearing you respond to that question, it brings to mind how you read a writer's work and you can swear by the fact that they are writing from some form of experience. So are we taking a part of you away when we read necessary fiction in particular? And which aspects of your life did you sprinkle into necessary fiction?
I'm not telling.
Oh, please do.
No.
Just a little.
But yes, there are many parts of me in this book. This book definitely was a hard one to write because it was demanding in a personal way. It was demanding in a spiritual way. And it was very hard to think of it as just a creative endeavor because it demanded my own attention to my hurts, my pains, my angers. And in that sense, it ended up being really healing for me also as its creator. So I would say there are things in this book that are only possible because of what I've experienced in my life. And then there are other things that come from my imagination as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the audience? Any questions from the audience? Okay, great.
I wanted to ask, is there any personal necessary fiction you've had to tell yourself as a maker navigating visibility and vulnerability in this time? What is your necessary fiction?
Fiction I've had to tell myself as a maker. I love that question. That's so brilliant. Thank you. That no one will read it. When I'm writing, I'm just like, oh no, it's fine. No one will read this. And that's how I get the truth out. And pretty much I feel like the process from writing a first draft to having it published is me working to gain my own trust that when people do read it, I'll be okay still. So that phrase is definitely a necessary thing to tell myself over and over again. Thing in order to out of myself.
On a more light-hearted note, have you come across any fan fiction for Vagabonds and Necessary Fiction?
Hello? Okay.
Yes. One of my favorite things about Vagabonds entering the world was just how many people were like, you know what, this book is mine now. I'm going to make a comic series and I'm going to make like a graphic story about Wura Blackson, and I don't need your permission for that. I'm going to make a painting. I'm going to make, I don't know, like a really short vignette of my two favorite characters doing what I want them to do. And I think that has been really cool. Like whatever form that comes in, whether it's through a painting, through a song that someone made, or through fiction, I've just really enjoyed seeing people take the characters and then make them their own. Has everyone who wants something to drink had something to drink? Okay.
Yeah, I think it works. So, I'm reading the book, and there's something very beautiful at the beginning, which I'm not sure if I've not heard enough because I didn't pay enough attention, or that's one of the reasons why I'm loving what I'm reading, which is the way the characters refer to the Lekki shooting as something that completely changed their life. And I feel like that was a thing that has been brushed off a little bit in general, and I have friends who were there, but I cannot even start imagining what was that like. And so, yeah, can you make a little reference to that as something that probably has completely changed young people's lives and the way they feel safe, or they feel safe in their bodies or in their own city?
Thank you for that. The Lekki shooting was very hard to grapple with or wrap my head around, because I was actually in Nigeria when it happened. And I had friends who were physically there. So for me, I ran away from it for some time, and I think that's a way of coping. Dissociating is a way of coping. It's like when something too dark happens, people just find the best way to run away from it. And I feel like that's what a lot of people have done in relation to Lekki Tollgate. But when it came to writing necessary fiction, I was able to use these characters' thoughts to grapple with my own experience of it as well. I think it's important to show that people's lives were changed. Like, there are people who lost family, there are people who lost friends, there are people who were shot, and I think one of the powers of being able to write is being able to choose what you want to commit to the page. And I wanted to write that down so that we don't forget that it happened. Because after the shooting, something that people reported was that they were starting to feel like it wasn't real because of how the facts were being distorted. So that's something I wanted to do here, to just be like, actually, no, it was real and it was this bad. And in order to get through it, this is what some people had to do, People had to create rituals and routines and community and parties in order to get past it. So thank you for bringing that up, because, yeah, that's a central part of this work, for sure.
So my question is, how did you approach writing older queer characters? Like for instance, Alhaji and Isokin and then Auntie G. You write them all with such, like we get to see the shame and the tenderness with which you write, but how did you approach writing those characters and presenting them with such a tenderness? Yes.
By remembering that they're people. I think there are all these conversations about this generation does this generation is like this. But ultimately, I think in order to tell a good story, you have to realize that the person you're talking about is a person. And even though in my life, there were times when I struggled with that tension of like, why do African parents behave like this? Or why all of this, small-mindedness, and why are people rejecting their children? I then started to ask myself more interesting questions, like, for instance, is it true that the only reason someone might resist your sexuality is because they are homophobic? Is that true? Like, is that a fact? And in asking myself that, I realized that I had more complex answers. Sometimes it's not that. Like, for instance, Isoka in the book is a parent who struggle with her child's sexuality is that her child, she feels like her child doesn't have self-control. She's like, why should it be in your Twitter bio? Like, why should anyone know who you're sleeping with? That's my problem with it. It's not the fact that you're a lesbian. Like, that doesn't have anything to do with me. But I think sometimes those things can get conflated, especially when it's happening between generations who want to express themselves differently. But I wanted to write a book that really complicates that and that moves away from the idea that the only reason someone might hesitate on the other side of your coming out is because they hate you. I don't think that that's true. I think some African parents are struggling for many different reasons. Some are struggling because of class reasons, because they're just like, I don't know, I'm not sure if in like the class that we're in the society that we're in, I don't know that it's actually correct to talk in this way about who you're sleeping with. Some other people are struggling because of their own repressed sexuality, and those are all things that I wanted to write down and, show.
Okay. I think we would like to take one last reading and then we call it an end. Yeah. If you're just joining us, we've been having a necessary fiction experience with Elhosa Osunde, and as part of this experience, we have some drinks. You missed her naming two of them, but you can grab a nice drink and join us for the last reading for this conversation.
Okay, so for this next reading, I'm reading from a chapter called Black Hole. Okay. Your husband's sister, Imose, had looked at you across the table then with a mix of curiosity and care. At the end of the night, she pressed a business card into your hand. I know someone. Don't worry, she's coded. She works with people like us. She knows the stakes. You even sign a contract. You nodded, but she knows you, has known you, so she could see that you weren't yet convinced. She won't see you, she said. You won't see her, but you can talk. You can really just talk. You don't even have to think of it as therapy, she said. It's like talking to a safe stranger that you know must carry whatever you say to her grave. You looked at your sister-in-law in the eye, keeping yours on her. You knew it cost her something to say this, especially then. And you were preparing your answer still when she said, I see her too. You've hated the word therapist for as long as you can remember. But because this suggestion came out of Imose's mouth, you were sold. And she was right. Every session, the woman gave you a pair of headphones so you could block out the room, and her reply could come straight to you. You hadn't even seen her face. She didn't even know what you looked like. You didn't even have to drop your name. It was safer than you'd feared. You'd talked to her about all kinds of things before, from your relationship with your childhood, to where the control issues come from, to why you need the bottle more than most things most days, why you can't just get up one day and stop, because does she realize how much of your life has been steeped in drink? Who would the new self be? What would she want? Would you like her? Would you be able to see and feel and know her? Still, some things were just better left unsaid, weren't they? Some secrets were too hard to give up, even to the nape of a new neck. Where would you even begin in the first place? What would you open your mouth to say? Take your time, the woman says. I'll be here when you're ready. It's okay to be finding this hard. Okay, fine. Maybe start at the beginning, you think. It takes you 5 minutes. You focus on the same sentence until the small pools in your eyes start to waterlog it. My daughter says she's a lesbian. You say, finally, startling yourself. Okay, the woman replies after the same fraction of time she used when you told her about the Lexotan, about Nogia's cheating and how hard everything you called your life was doing your head in. How does that make you feel? She can do what she wants, you snap. No one said she can't do what she wants. True, but that's not what I asked. How does it make you feel? You wanted to ask her which part? The part about her associating herself with that word, or the part about her including proud lesbian in her Twitter bio, like someone who knows nothing about costs? Or the desperate madness that crawled up your brain like an unstoppable army of ants when you Googled her name and saw that? Or the part where you confronted her about it, which led to you saying what you said, doing what you did before you could call your hand back, and your daughter's betrayed face yelling at you to get some help, Mom. Seriously, get some help. Angry, you say. That's how I feel. Angry. Anything else? Scared. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Olosa, for joining us here in Accra and spending your 2 days with us at the Peja Festival. I know I said it will be the end, but I have one more question. Have you ever written any of your stories in Accra?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Why do you ask?
I would like to know how Accra has inspired you as a city in the stories that you've written.
I've made some really great memories in Accra. I've made some really great memories in Accra. And I have spent some time here as well, just when I felt like I needed to get away from everything. This felt like a good place to come to. So in that sense, it has seeped into my work. Like there are moments in the book where it's just like, yeah, people going to like Cape Coast or Chalewote or Kokrobite, yeah, exactly. And yeah, this place really matters to me. You guys really matter to me. I'm so grateful that I got to meet you all in person for the first time. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be reading my work here. And I feel so welcomed, so blessed, so loved. Thank you, Elizabeth, for making this happen, for coordinating such an incredible festival. Like this has been such a great experience. And thank you so much, everyone, for your time, for your attention, for your listening, and for buying the books. You mean the world to me. Thank you.
That's a great way to end our conversation with the amazing Elohosa Osunde. If you want a copy of your book, you should get a copy of their books. Please go to Vidya Bookstore, get a copy, and get it signed. This is the first of many readings in Accra, and we are happy that we hosted the first one. So thank you so much, Elohosa, and enjoy the rest of your stay in Accra, and enjoy the rest of the festival. Yeah, and now let me get into festival manager duties and announce the coming events. So from 4:20 to 5:20, we have creative Kofi Anidoho and his creative writing class from the University of Ghana having a reading, and that will be moderated by Aduke Gomez in the library. We have a panel on world building in speculative fiction happening in München. We have a panel on creating and curating literary spaces happening upstairs in Hamburg. We have a conversation on weaving stories, connecting the dots, navigating the planes. This is on photography, and that will be in Berlin. We have another session on the role of writing workshops in developing new talents with Performer Collective happening in Cologne. And finally, we have Mother Suriname happening here in the courtyard. There will be a screening of the film and a conversation. Thank you so much. And please, more drinks, please, more drinks.